never thought clowns were funny. I've always hated them. With their stupid red noses, their big shoes, and their dumb jokes. They were just not funny to me. Even as a kid, I hated those bastards. When I was just a little girl, like 7 or 8 years old, my mom took me to the circus. I liked most of the artists, the big animals, the stunts, the magic. But then there were those clowns. In every intermission they came out and did their stupid routine, like stepping on each other's feet, slapping each other and pouring buckets of water over each other's heads. Everyone was laughing and cheering, everyone but me. Even my mother found it hilarious. She nudged me with her elbow and smiled at me. To make her happy, I put on a smile, but as soon as she turned away, I let myself frown in displeasure again. There was this one clown whom I found particularly stupid. He was fat and had a bald head with red hair on the sides. His face was covered in white makeup. He was wearing the typical red nose, a colorful jumpsuit, and those big stupid shoes. At one time, he was having some kind of solo moment, where he would juggle some balls, while singing O Sole Mio completely out of tune. When he was finished, he bowed, and all the other children clapped and laughed. He smiled proudly as his eyes wandered through the cheering crowd. Then he saw me. I noticed his gaze, and so I frowned even more. I wanted him to know that I didn't find him in the least bit funny. His smile slowly vanished and gave way to an expression of disappointment, which then turned into something else, something serious, something scary. I started feeling uncomfortable and looked away. Then the curtain fell. Nobody noticed this moment between us. Everybody was having fun. When all was over, my mother drove us home. "Now wasn't that something?" she rhetorically asked with a huge smile. "Yes, that was really something," I answered. Still a little creeped out by that clown, I went to bed, looking forward to the new school days to forget all about it. The next day came. Minding my own business and thinking my childish thoughts, I made my way to the bus stop. It was a beautiful fall morning. The sun was shining, and red, yellow, and brown leaves were dancing elegantly in the wind. I arrived a bit early at the bus station. I waited there for a little while, contemplating my homework and if Jenny would invite me to her birthday party this year, when suddenly my eyes caught something colorful. It was the clown from the circus. He was standing across the street in full costume, and he was looking at me. A sudden chill ran down my spine. He didn't move. His eyes were wide open, and his lipstick-covered mouth was stretched into a devilish grin that showed almost all of his crooked teeth. He just stood there staring at me. What the hell was his problem? After a while, he slowly lifted his arm and waved at me with just his fingers while still piercing me with his mad gaze. I was so scared. Thank God it was at this moment the bus arrived. I quickly got in and sat down. A few rows in front, Katie and Sarah turned around. "Oh, hi, Casey. Why don't you come sit with us?" But I didn't listen. I was looking out the back window to see the clown still smiling and staring at me as we drove off. When I arrived at my desk, I calmed down a little. Maybe I was imagining things. Not the clown. He was real, of course. But why would that clown care about one kid? Why would he even recognize me? Reveling in my soothing thoughts, I tried to concentrate as Mr. Hembry did his best to make math interesting. His voice and gestures always hypnotized me and put me in a state of dreamy apathy. The bell rang. I was pacing around the schoolyard, watching Jenny as she passed out invitations to her birthday party. I stood close to her little group to give her a chance to invite me, without making it too obvious, of course. Suddenly I saw him. The clown. He was standing there in the schoolyard, surrounded by a crowd of children, making balloon animals and handing out flyers. The children were smiling and laughing with glee, and also the teachers watched the scene with an expression of joy. Just as Jenny was about to turn towards me, she noticed him. "Hey guys, look, a clown! Let's check it out!" With that, the clique ran off, leaving me behind. He made balloon giraffes, balloon poodles, a balloon fish, and so on. I didn't like clowns, but I sure liked balloon animals. Maybe I should go over there, I thought. Maybe he's not such a bad guy. Then he made something strange. A little balloon girl with a ponytail, just like me. He looked and pointed at me with a wicked smile. I gasped. His hands then tightly clasped the little balloon girl as he started pulling on her head. The rubber stretched and then burst with a loud pop. I jumped. His face contorted into a caricaturist expression of surprise, and he shrugged. Then he slowly put the remains of the balloon into his mouth and started chewing while still staring at me. Words cannot describe the horror I felt. I took a few steps back into the shadows and prayed for the bell to save me. The rest of the morning went by uneventfully, except for kids asking me what was wrong because I was trembling and looked as pale as a sheet. What was I supposed to tell them? That a clown was stalking me? They'd think I was mad. At noon, I sat quietly at the table, always looking over my shoulder out of fear the clown would suddenly appear behind me. I couldn't eat a single bite. When lunch was over, all the kids went to play outside and to see the clown again. Everyone but me. I was hiding in the toilet trying my best not to cry. Get a grip on yourself, Casey, I thought. You're safe here. He's just a clown, just a stupid clown trying to scare you. He's probably just angry because he didn't pass high school and couldn't get a proper job. So now he has to wear that stupid clown costume every day and perform in front of a bunch of screaming brats, all while his stupid clown wife and his stupid clown children are starving at home. The bell rang. I looked at myself in the mirror, gathered all of my courage, and went to class. History was next, so I opened my desk to get my history book. When I took it out, I noticed something was written on the inside of my desk in red crayon. It read, "I'm watching you." No! It's not possible. It couldn't have been him. How would he get in here? No, it must have been someone else playing a prank. A sudden soft knocking interrupted my thoughts. It came from the window right next to me. The hair on my neck stood up. It was the clown. He stood there a few feet away from me with only the glass separating us. He smiled his terrible, crazy smile and nodded his head. My heart stopped. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I even held my breath. Nobody else seemed to have noticed him. He reached into his pocket and slowly took out a small knife. He then put it to his hand and proceeded cutting through his dirty white glove until he struck blood. He looked me right in the eyes and grinned from ear to ear as he was cutting his hand, blood dripping to the ground. I just looked at him in terror and disbelief. He then placed his bleeding hand onto the glass, smearing his blood across the window until he was staring at me through a thick veil of crimson red. His eyes were mad, so utterly mad and angry. Raving madness and unfathomable evil stood there waiting and staring at me. Suddenly he punched the window with his fist so hard he cracked the glass. I jumped and let out a scream. The whole class turned around. "Oh gosh darn it," Mr. Hembry said. "Did a bird hit the window again?" The clown had vanished. The bell rang. I didn't gather my things. I just got out of the classroom as fast as I could. On my way out, Jenny stopped me, an envelope with my name on it in her hand. "Oh hey Casey, wanna come to my—" "Get the hell out of my way!" I yelled, shoving her to the side, leaving her and her cool friends perplexedly standing in the hallway. I made my way to the bus and sat there shaking. The noise from the bus, the conversation, the laughing, the paper planes passing by, the whole world around me was numb and unimportant as I was trembling in fear for my very life. My stop came, and I got out. "Bye, Casey. Be safe," the bus driver said as always. I didn't reply. I just prayed the clown wouldn't be there on my way home. I walked a steady, fast pace, keeping my eyes on the path. Just one more block, I thought. I could already see my house. My mood brightened. I was almost home. I started running a little. Suddenly, a huge figure stepped out from behind a tree. It was him. Time slowed down. I broke my step and came to a halt only feet away from him. My heart sank to the bottom of the ocean. His figure, his face, his eyes, his grin. It was all so unreal, like a nightmare. I'm going to die, I thought. We stared at each other, both knowing full well what was going on and what was about to happen. A second of complete silence. I took a deep breath and bolted towards my house. I ran. I ran as I have never run before. When I looked back, I saw him chasing after me. As a grown man, he was the faster runner, but his big clown shoes slowed him down, giving me a slight chance. Still, he was getting closer. Suddenly, I felt a violent tug. He got a hold of my shawl. I screamed as he pulled me towards him. I wiggled and squirmed. I managed to break free from my shawl and I ran towards my house. He started laughing. I arrived at my door and ripped it open. When I turned around to close it, I saw the clown, standing in the street, holding my shawl high up in the air, laughing like a madman. I slammed the door shut. My mom was standing in the hallway, vacuuming the floor. "Oh, hi, honey. How was school?" I ran past her, up the stairs and into my room. I closed my door, jumped onto my bed and started crying hysterically. "Are you okay, sweetie?" Mom asked. I couldn't answer. I was too preoccupied with crying my soul out. Then the bell rang. Through a crack in my door, I peeked down the stairs to see my mom open the door. I was only able to see a pair of large clown shoes standing in the doorway. "Oh, it's you," my mom said surprisedly. A friendly-sounding, gentle male voice said, "Good evening, madam. I think you visited our show the other day with your daughter. I've noticed that she forgot her shawl on her seat. Well, today I was making some rounds to advertise our circus when I saw her enter this house, so I hurried to my trailer to get it. I thought it's the perfect opportunity to give it back to her and to thank you for your visit." "Oh, how considerate of you. You are a real gentleman. Well, I think my little Casey had a rough day at school. She's upstairs in her room. Would you mind giving it back to her personally? She really enjoyed your show and I think she could use some cheering up right now. And who better to cheer her up than a nice clown like you?" "Of course, madam. I'd be glad to try my best to put a smile on that pretty face of hers." "Thank you so much, Mr. Clown. Her room is right upstairs." My mom smiled, switched the vacuum cleaner back on, and put on her headphones, blasting Barry Manilow at full volume. "Mom, oh my God." I tried to barricade the door with my little pink kid chair, but there was no time. Within a second, the clown kicked open my door. I almost pissed myself. I fell to the floor and crawled backwards onto my bed. He was standing in my doorway like a huge, colorful shadow with a knife in his hand, murder in his eyes, and a grin that could burn a crucifix. I screamed and cried. I didn't want to die. "What do you want from me?" I yelled. The clown, fidgeting with his knife, while slowly walking towards me, spoke. "I will kill you, little girl." His voice was raspy, comical, deep and full of burning hatred. It sounded nothing at all like before. With every step towards me, he continued, "I will gouge your eyes out. I will skin you alive. I will disembowel you. I will cut out your heart and eat it. I will paint your little room red with your blood. Prepare to die, little girl. Prepare to die." "No, please, no!" I screamed. "Please don't! Don't kill me, please! Why? Why are you doing this? Because you didn't laugh!" I was crying and screaming. I didn't want to die. I didn't deserve this. I was still so young, and all just because I didn't laugh at this psychopath's stupid show. In my deepest despair, something clicked, and suddenly I knew what I had to do. I tried my best to get control over my fear, and with all my might I forced my screams into something that was supposed to resemble laughter. The clown stopped in his tracks. He looked bewildered. As I noted this, I continued and tried to laugh even harder. The clown's anger got weaker, and he slowly started to smile. It wasn't a crazy, evil smile like before. It was a genuine, human, happy smile. I did my best to gulp down my sobs and force my face into a deformed expression of happiness, while all I wanted to do was scream in terror. But it worked. I laughed. I laughed as hard as I could. The clown body untightened, and he started laughing as well. The scene was a truly absurd one to behold. A little girl and a psychopathic killer clown that just a second ago was going to dissect her, both laughing like crazy. He put his knife away and started dancing and doing poses. He purposely tripped over his own shoes, he honked his red nose, he made animal noises. He was performing for me. Did this psycho really think I was laughing because he was funny? It didn't matter, I was alive. And so, I laughed. My mom came into the room and watched how this devilish madman put on a show for her little princess, just as I put on a show for him by laughing like it's the funniest thing ever. She probably mistook my tears of terror for tears of joy. The whole scene put a warm, approving smile on her face. Finally, the clown took out a red balloon, blew it up, and made a little balloon girl, just like he had done before, and placed it in my hand along with my shawl. He then bowed over me, sending another rush of fear through my body as he picked me up from my bed and gave me a big hug. Over his shoulder, I saw my mom smiling. The clown viciously whispered, "I'll be seeing you, little girl." After that, my mom thanked him, and he finally left. "Now wasn't that something?" my mom asked. "Yes, that was really something," I replied with closed eyes, breathing heavily as I thanked the Lord that I was still alive. I still don't think clowns are funny. Actually, I'm terrified of them. However, to this day, when I see a clown somewhere, I laugh. I laugh as hard and as loud as I can. I laugh like it's the funniest thing ever. I do the same thing for mimes and stand-up comedians, just to be safe. My friends think I'm crazy, but they don't know. And to you, dear reader, I say, if you ever see a clown somewhere, laugh. Laugh as hard and as loud as you can. Hold your bellies, let your eyes water up. Laugh until your face hurts. Laugh until you can't breathe anymore. Laugh like it's the funniest thing you've ever seen. Your life may depend on it.